Okay, what do you guys think about this, like, this, there's like a new chant going on called like defund the police. What do you guys think about it?
I support it.
You support it? Why do you support it?
Because we have a militarized police. And like that's like the police are to protect the civilians. The police, if they go against anyone, is going to be the civilians. Like, why are they a military? Like, why do they have tanks? Like that's your job is to keep watch over my neighborhood. Like, ain't nobody in my neighborhood need a tank to take them down.
And I've always said, like, especially I was talking to my friend the other night, and I was like, you know, police officers, the number one thing you hear them say is like, I mean, our job is dangerous. We don't know what we're getting into every day. Every day it can be something new, unexpected. I was like, well, hell, how are you any different from the gas station clerk in the, you know what I'm saying, in the neighborhood that you patrolling? They got to, you know, they don't know what's walking through that door. But at the same time, anybody who looks suspicious, they're not drawing guns on anybody. They're not drawing guns on the customer, and their job is just, I'm not gonna say it's just as dangerous, but I'm just saying the liability of their job is just about the same. They don't know what's gonna walk through that door, and that's no different than a bank teller. They don't assume everybody who walks in is about to rob the bank. So the police officer just can't assume every time they make a traffic stop that somebody is a criminal, this, that, or the third. You know, they have to be able to analyze that. So I think defunding is maybe appropriate, but I think more training. I think if you're going to put money into anything, make them train. You know, give them more training, give them more understanding. And I feel like they have to understand the neighborhoods that they're patrolling before they can just go in those neighborhoods. And you know, and they have to understand the people, because they generalize. Oh, this neighborhood. Oh, this is the east side of Arlington. This is what this is known for. So now everybody's a suspect if you're on the east side. And like, to me, you know, that's just not logical. They just need more training. And like you said, as far as the military equipment, when you see these pictures and these videos of people in riot gear, tear gas, you know, the people we have nothing.
Stuff like that.
They have signs. They have signs and water bottles. And you're face to face with somebody with a helmet, a mask, a stick, you know, taser, spray, the whole nine. So I think that I think it is very extreme when you're dealing with civilians, when you're dealing with everyday people who's just walking down to the corner store and trying to get back home. You know, who's going to Walmart with their kids and trying to get back home. And so I feel like they have to be more sensitive. They have to have more training and understanding of the areas that they're in. And before.
Yeah, I agree. I'm for reallocating the funds. Like, I don't know if I necessarily want them to be defunded, because there are certain situations where, I mean, we're going to call the police.
Right.
I wouldn't say. It's like defunding sounds bad because it's like it sounds like, oh, we're gonna make them dirt poor, but it's like when you look into how much money we put into like policing and how much money we put into like government funding for militarization, and then you look on the backside and be like, how much money have we put into education? And it's like extremely less.
A little bit louder now. A little bit louder now.
And it's like, so it's like, I'm definitely down for defunding because like they don't need all the money they got. I'll take some money out of it and then reallocate it.
Do you think it could go towards, you know,
better
reforming and training and reorganization? Because something that I thought was really powerful, I got an email with with my job. They said nurses and teachers restrain people every day and nobody dies. So, you know, nobody's taught to kill somebody when they're restraining somebody.
Right.
You know, and now that we have an age where everybody has a phone with a camera all the time, you know, could those funds, instead of defunding necessarily directly, sort of indirectly defund it by creating more different programs and reforming and stuff like that?
So reform of their budget plan? That would be definitely good. I definitely think they should do more training. They need more training. I saw this post the other day where it was like, you can't become a cosmetologist after 2 years. It takes 6 to 8 months to become a cop.
Yeah, so if you're gonna reallocate the money,
the dude who needs my faith needs more training than the person that protects my neighborhood. Think about that.
And if you're gonna reallocate the money, if you're gonna move the money, I would honestly say pay them more, because if there is cops that are just thinking like, man, I'm only making this much money for me to go out here and do this, and their attitude is already soured about having to, you know, getting paid what they're paying and to do that risky job, what attitude are they taking out onto the streets when they go into to patrol? If they're feeling like they're getting, screwed almost for their pay, their attitude is going to be negative to anybody, who they run into. So if they're feeling like the job is not worth it and the money's not worth it, I don't feel like their attitude going out and protecting us is really going to be all that.
See, I think I feel you on that, but that don't give you an excuse to be shitty.
It doesn't.
No,
because ain't nobody at Wall. I dare to catch you at Walmart to fight.
That's at any job, though. A lot of
That's my point. It's like your job sucks, nigga, but this your job. You apply for this.
Exactly.
But my issue with the whole defunding the police champ thing is that it just came out of nowhere. Like I feel like people may have talked about it in the past, but I feel like as part of the protest, that shit came out of nowhere.
Yeah, because throughout this time period, people it's an awakening. More people are starting to see the injustice that are going on, and then along with the injustice, they're starting to look into it and be like, damn. Why do the cops got all this?
No, but I'm saying, people were calling people who were saying this, extremists, but now it's, the thing to say defund the police. And people are even, pushing to just, mantling it altogether.
Because who's policing the police? And I feel like there's some people, I feel like for that, in that situation, it's they have so much power, so we have to take something. We have to.
But I don't want to get rid of it altogether. I think, we were saying, you should reform it. I feel like they should have different units where they're responding to different situations. So maybe they can go through different trainings and be specialized in that.
That's a good idea.
I would think they already do. I feel like that's something they should already be doing. I feel like that's my point. So I think they already have enough money to where the defunding sounds like we're making them broke, but they are giving.
No, but like you said, they're spending the money on those equipment that they don't need.
Sometimes they spend on BS.
Education.
We give they're giving excess and a surplus of money every year. That's just a thing with the government, especially ever since the war on drugs and with the 90s bill, if you lock up more people, your precinct gonna get more money. It's they have enough money to do whatever they want. They already should be training for different scenarios, for a code blue, for a code red, for a code green, whatever. That should be a thing. I feel like
it is a thing. I feel like it is a thing. I feel like it's just blatantly they don't care.
They don't care
because. You do get trained. Now, is it long enough? That's up for debate. But the fact is that you do have to go to the academy, but it's just their training and their methods and their everything goes out the window. And for whatever their personal reasons are, that's for them and them to answer to whoever they answer to. But it's when there's a camera on you, they got a body cam on, and you still proceed to put your knee in somebody's neck. You're deliberately saying, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. And honestly, it's almost a sense of arrogance because it's I might get away with this. I'm putting my knee in this guy's neck with all these people filming, and I know that there's going to be a chance that I'm going to go on vacation for a couple of weeks, and I'm going to come back to my job. And had we not raised hell, who knows what the flip side to this story may be. It might have just been another case just like Mike Brown, just like anybody else who we've seen in the past who got taken by the police. So I just feel like we have. That is definitely a thing.
I just feel like if they do lower the fundings for the police, they're not going to use it for education. That's how I feel like they want to keep certain communities the way it is. But they're going to even have more excuses to not be doing things the way that they should be doing.
Right. Because
they can blame it on something. Oh, we don't have enough funding. Right. So to me, it's we have to say the right things to get people to listen and go for what we want them to go for. So that's just my view on shit. Anyone got anything else to say? No. Yes. Okay. So what do you guys think about non-black people saying that police brutality happens to everybody? I've seen that narrative a lot. They bring up Tony Timpa. It happened in Dallas. He was schizophrenic. He called the police or whatever because he felt like he was gonna have an episode. And the police came down and they restrained him. They were on his back, pretty much like George Floyd, whatever.
Right. It's not at that point. It's not a race problem. It's a society problem. we need retraining. We need to restructure the training program.
Well, that's what I was going to
Police
say,
academies.
because they didn't even know they killed him. I feel like in George Floyd's situation, it was a lot more intentional. Like, he knew what he was doing when he was on his neck.
Screaming for pain.
But they just were negligent in that situation because they don't know how to treat mental health patients.
Right. No, I probably recognize it.
Right.
They probably didn't recognize it. They probably didn't notice.
No,
it
yeah, they were
afterwards.
shocked. If you watch the body cam, they were shocked. They were like, he's dead. Like, what the fuck? Like, but.
I would say honestly that then that should be more of a reason for them to understand like there's a problem. We have a police problem. So I don't feel like it should be a pick a side thing. It should be like, okay, we all have the same problem then. If there's an outrage for white people getting killed by police, because I seen that too, like, well, will we riot if this white person got killed? I was like, well, if that white person meant enough to you, you guys get your ass out there and riot. Because what the point is that George Floyd meant something, obviously not personally, like not everybody who was in Minneapolis knew George Floyd, but it was the fact of what was happening. It made everybody, so mad that it was just like, we have to say something. We're not ignoring this. And so if white people feel that, the problem with them getting killed by the police is a problem, they need to organize. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's not a, oh well, black people are doing it, so it's not a side thing. It's not a team thing. If they feel like it's wrong, you know what I'm saying, then they need to organize. They have the same power to organize for whatever guy's name was in Dallas, just like we did for George, Mike Brown, anybody.
And I don't think like police brutality has a race.
Right.
I think it just might have a favorite race. You know what I mean? I just think it might, cater to one race more than the. Well, I know it caters to the black race.
The numbers say.
Yeah, the numbers say. Then I think that now that it's happening and people are speaking up for it, that's another thing, okay? It was just like the all lives matter. Okay, now it's police brutality. It's like black people can't ever have one thing to where it's like, look, we are going through this. Like the police, they don't give a fuck about us. They don't care. They want to kill us. But it's like, oh, I'm white, but they pulled me over and they took me to jail. And you know what I mean? And it's like that too, but that's not what it's about right now. You know what I mean? It's really about black lives right now in this moment. But it's affecting all races.
I just feel like the people who consistently bring that up, that police brutalize all races, I just feel like they themselves may not like the police, but they don't like black people either. That's how I feel like, because I don't know if y'all saw the video of where there was two police who like pushed down the elderly white man.
Oh my God!
A lot of white people did not feel sorry for him. Like they did not care, and I'm like, they probably didn't care because he was at a Black Lives Matter protest.
And can we just talk about that? What did he do besides walk?
That's just police.
You know what I mean? That's another thing, and that's why I say it doesn't have a race. But I feel like right then and there it did, because that was someone standing up for black people.
Exactly.
So we already know where that intention was coming from and all of that. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
One of them.
You're on that side. That's no different. That's no different from being back in the back in the '60s. If you were just to happen to sleep with a white woman, or be with a white woman, or be with a white man, it's like, okay, you're one of them.
I'm literally watching that movie right now, Just Mercy. Have y'all seen Just Mercy with Michael B. Jordan and Jamie Foxx? It's based off a true story, and the guy, I forgot his name, but the guy that Jamie Foxx is playing slept with the white woman, and he was married to a black woman, and they pinned a murder on him because of that. So it's just crazy thinking about that.
It's
And
like
look now. Look at the day and age that we're living in now. You know what I mean?
I think part of it too that people don't understand is that while police brutality is a problem, if I was walking down the street and I had just, robbed a bank, and a police officer would, use excessive force or something, they didn't do that because I was black or because I was white. They did it because I committed a crime. And police brutality is a problem, but people don't have a full grasp of the concept that black people are being targeted, borderline hunted by police and law enforcement. And so I think that you can't say, well, it happens to everybody, without recognizing the elephant in the room of the fact that black people are targeted.
Yeah,
it's not
that's
like
right.
it's not happenstance. If it's a white person, an Asian person, a Hispanic person, it's happenstance.
Right.
If it's a black person, it's intentional, and it's it's almost thought out.
Yeah.
You know,
And almost 90% of the videos that you see, you know, you hear a black person getting pulled over, it's like, what did I do?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's like the thing that you hear them say, and it turns to anger because it's like, well, put your hands behind your back. But what did I do? Well, you're not listening.
Then you're angry.
You know?
Now you're hostile. You know what I'm saying?
And now you're about to build up some charges because they're not telling you what you're doing wrong. And to me, it's not about, because white people say, well, I wonder what they did to get pulled over. Well, that's the thing. That's why they're mad. That's why they're losing their cool in the video. Because I'm just trying to get down the street. I'm trying to go to Quick Trip. I'm trying to go to Walmart. And it's not that easy. You know, it's not that easy.
And you know, they know that. They know that, like, in that instance, they probably weren't doing anything. That's why they go back and they pull up whatever record they may have had in the past. That's why they try and use that as, like, well, you know, he was a criminal anyways, like, type of stuff. But, shit, that's all I have to say on that. Okay. Next topic. What do you guys think about classism in the black community? Do you guys think, like, some people are tone deaf to what's going on because of their position in life?
Yeah, I would say there's a majority of, especially successful black men that I know, and that would feel that like almost kind of like what you said is like we all in America, we can all start from the ground up. We can all be something. It's up to you. Mm-hmm. And so their level of like understanding of, you know, how like especially as far as like being class, because they got their money, they're set. So it's not they're not like, okay, well let me bring this guy up. They're like, no, I came up from the bottom, so it's like I can't, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna help you. You're jumping the same hoops that I had to jump through. So
very self-serving.
Very self-serving. So there's definitely that. So there's definitely going to be those people. It's like, well, you know. Because there are black people, you know, who think that way. Like, you know what, I don't fool with them niggas over there. You know what I'm saying? I got my money. We over here, baby. Like, we good. And it's like not even understanding that, like, in the eyes of a God, if he was right, you're no different.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think it's. I see what you're saying, but I don't think it's where you are. I think it's where you come from. Cause like. I'm a middle class American, like, and I know I get certain tax benefits, but I'm straight out of projects. So it's like, if you come from a class where you're already there, and you like, I wouldn't say you're at equal footing with a white man, but because you're never at equal footing with a white man, but you're given different opportunities to the majority of black people in this country, yeah, your outlook on life is gonna be different. But I can't think of the person who said it. I wish I could. Dang, I feel so disrespectful, but she's the first black woman to win an Oscar. She played Mammy a lot, but she said, it's like, I can be free. It's just like Harriet Tubman mindset is like, yeah, I'm free, but until we all free, none of us gonna make it. And that's why I wanted to be a financial advisor, because all said is like, yeah, I had an education where I can learn how to become a millionaire. I can learn how to build my own wealth. But like, what does this wealth really do me when I know there's a whole wealth gap? That's one of the biggest contributing factors to the degradation of my people.
But I think he's talking about people that already, like, they might come from where you come from, but then they surpass that level and they get so much. Yeah, their mindset changes. Now they have that money to where it's like, the niggas over there. You know what I mean?
No, that's what I'm saying. I see what he's saying, but like, I'm gonna put an asterisk near that, because from my experience, I know niggas like that. I know black millionaires who got it out the mud, and like they got that mindset like, yeah, get it how you live. But one thing I respect about them is they'll throw you a bone. Like when I was a rep, like they saw me as a young 20-year-old black guy with no contacts, and they said, man, I'm not gonna just throw him no money because he still gotta work. But I'm gonna give you the game. I'm gonna invite you to a lunch. I'm gonna put you on this one case with me. Like that's my thing. Like I ain't gonna give no nigga $50,000 if I got it in my pocket. But one thing I'm gonna tell you how to do is how to make $50,000.
Well, no one's expecting them necessarily to give money out their pocket.
No, it's just an example.
I understand it's an example.
But we have to clear that misconception, though, because there's definitely white people who think that, you know, that's what we ask for is a handout or an easy way out. And I've always said it's not a handout or it's not money, it's just an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? It's just let us get in the door. You know what I'm saying? Let us put one foot in the door.
But like you said, like, I mean, where you come from it does play a factor. Because I've always said, like, coming from the suburbs, I do see how I have more opportunities than other black people in other areas. But at the same time, that racism is that much more apparent because I'm not around a lot of black people. Like other black people are.
And I feel like an outsider on both sides.
Exactly.
Because, you know, because to your white friends, you'll never be, white. So you'll never, like, completely just be in that circle. No matter how long I've been friends, like, I can never, like, officially, like relate to them, to their level. And to black people, you know, I've always struggled with them, with us, because it's like, you talk white. You didn't come from, you went to Blue Springs, dude. Like, you living good, not knowing that there's a broke part of Blue Springs.
Yeah.
Like you said, like, it's just because it's Blue Springs doesn't mean it's all picket fences and, you know what I'm saying, backyards and stuff like that. So it's like you always find yourself, I always found myself, at least, in the middle. And so I've always been able to, you know, put my shoes on for white people, but definitely put my shoes on for black people to understand where both sides are coming from. But as far as being, you know, as being black, you know, it's tough. It's just tough being us, and it's tough going day to day. And that's why we have to do better as people, because we're fighting battles in our own lives that nobody can see. And the last thing, you know, that we need is me looking down on you, or me looking down on you. And like you said, you know, people who's going to build people up. You're not going to give somebody $50,000, but you're going to teach them how to get $50,000. But that's what we need. That's what we need in our communities. That's what we need to teach our youth. It's not giving them anything.
No, you give them the game.
You know what I'm saying? You could teach. You could show them how to fish. You teach them how to fish. They're gonna eat forever. And that's what we need to do. We need to teach our people. We need to, you know, like I said earlier, just rechannel our focus on what's important and what we really want.
Education.
I don't feel like I was caught in the middle though. I felt like I was abandoned in a sense, because I wasn't fucking with white people, like, at all. Like, I have 2 non-black friends and that's about it.
You said you're from Texas?
Yeah, I'm from Texas. I was born and raised in this area, so.
Yes.
It's strange because different for me, because I grew up, y'all know I'm from New York and I grew up in Jersey, so like growing up, I didn't even experience racism until I moved to Texas. Like, and then when I experienced it for the first time, I was like, damn, y'all are nice. Like, y'all say howdy when we walk through the door.
No, it's so casual.
But
it's very casual racism.
Yes.
So
casual racism at its finest.
That's how.
So it is how you're raising your child's location. It's all of that. Yeah.
But I mean, no, yeah. So I just feel like, just growing up in this area, I just feel like black people didn't really understand things until they moved here themselves as well. Because I see a lot more black people moving to this area, and they realize, like, oh, you're still held back to a certain extent as well. Like, you can move anywhere, but you still black. It don't matter that you were in a certain area, you living better than some other black people. Like, people will hold you back. Like, I started realizing that shit when I was, like, little. And that's, like, weird, like, because people don't want their kids at protests. They don't want their kids knowing about this shit. But I feel like you have to teach your kids this stuff, because I experienced it as a young child. Like, I could tell my teacher was only picking on me because I'm an easy target. I'm easy to convince to a principal that I was causing trouble. Meanwhile, I never fucking talked. So it's like, how am I always the one getting in trouble? I don't speak. So, I mean, it's just like stuff like that. Like, I feel like black people really have to understand, like, where other people are coming from, and, like, they have to not forget where they come from as well. So.
That's big, and that, you know what I'm saying, that's really big. And it's, you know, I think a big issue is also we have to lose the respect that we have for your hoods or wherever you come from, because, you know, a lot of people made me feel like living in Blue Springs, like I wasn't, you know, black enough. Well, you ain't from the city, you don't live here, you ain't from here, you ain't coming from here. But I was like, my mama, like, it was, you know, had me at 16, like, she worked hard so I didn't have to live in that. I could go to a good school, like, I can get a good education. And, like, we have to understand, like, that's what it's about. It's not about, you know, who can be the most hood, who can be the most tough. It's really.
I gotta say this. I don't think people don't rep their hood because they can't prove they're tough enough.
No, but what I'm saying is,
there is a policing on blackness that all black
I know
people
what
tend
you- I know
to
what
do
you're saying about the
sometimes.
police.
But like even when you said like, oh, you from Oak Cliff, you said that with pride because you know that like, okay, well like Oak Cliff is this. But like for me, it's just like if I live in Frisco, like if I had a choice to put my kid in a Frisco school district or an Oak Cliff, like we're going to Frisco. You know what I'm saying? Even though they are going to endure some type of racism, they're gonna get treated different. But at the same time, that is going to be the best place for them still to be able to grow and get in good education.
I would find a happy medium because I wouldn't want to subject my kids to what I went through because that wasn't fun. So, but I mean, I get what you're saying though because I feel like that's why I had said earlier, don't let people convince you I don't live in Dallas. This is Dallas.
Right.
Like, people be trying to tell me it's not Dallas, but it is. So I mean, that's just all it is.
You think this is Dallas?
This is far north
This is
Dallas,
fucking
technically.
Dallas.
Girl,
This is far north Dallas.
Girl.
This is the suburbs. You next door to Plano, Carrollton. This is the
You have
burbs.
to be like from
This is
here
far
to
north Dallas,
understand. I feel like
This is far north Dallas.
All right,
If it's
whatever,
Dallas.
whatever.
I'm like, I'm Dallas.
Yeah, I said I'm from Dallas.
It's Dallas.
I mean, I can understand that though, because you would
County.
say you're from Dallas. You would say I'm from. But if you knew somebody from Texas, you'd be like, I'm from Dallas. Well, you know, Carrollton. You'll still bring
Say
it up.
Dallas.
You
No,
know?
I don't do that. I'm
I'm from Dallas.
I'll say North Dallas.
Dallas.
Far North Dallas.
real
Some
far north
people where I
Dallas.
live, they're like, this is not Dallas, honey. This is further past Dallas. You live further out.
Okay, so what do you guys think some of the solutions are for everything that's going on right now? Like, what do you think should happen? I mean, because we kind of talked about it with defunding the police and
Take your
shit
protest into the voting booths.
to the voting booth.
They allowed them.
Take your
Little
protest into the voting booths. Don't just yell in the streets, yell in the courtrooms.
Okay.
For real.
I would say gather up more protests.
But I think just like being consistent and being persistent and like after all of this, because months will go by, people will stop talking about it, you know.
I know.
Some people, let's
Right.
say some, but I think it's just like always being in someone's ear about it, always speaking up, like still be just as active as we are now, like just making sure.
What are some of the different roles like people can do? You know, it's funny, when I was at the protest yesterday, there was like people burning sage and blowing bubbles. And I'm like, that's low-key necessary. 'Cause
No,
that's relaxing.
that is.
So,
I would
Yeah.
also say just keep supporting black-owned businesses, black
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
We gotta keep channeling that money to our people.
Hit up my man Spencer, John Louise. He's a great financial advisor. I'm throwing
Go
out
ahead.
But we need it, and you know we need all the support. We keep putting our dollars in our hands.